the Software Freedom Law Center just came out with a new white paper, correct? Could you talk a little bit about it?
Sure, we just published it. It's a new paper called Killed by Code, Software Transparency in Implantable Medical Devices. It's a paper that talks about the software on medical devices. I actually have a heart condition, and I have a pacemaker myself, a pacemaker defibrillator. And when I was told that I needed it 2 years ago, I said, well, great, I need this device. Can I see the code? Because, it's going to be connected to my heart. And I was told no. I went to all three of the medical device manufacturers, and they said no. And that really got me thinking about software on these medical devices and, whether it was truly safe.
We've heard about cases, notably there was the radiation therapy machine, I think that was in the 80s, that killed people because of software errors. Do we know of cases where software errors in medical devices have caused problems?
Yeah, we've been looking at the FDA statistics, and we've seen actually just today there's been a Boston Scientific product advisory that some of their devices, I think they say there are 34,000 devices out there, and that what happens is that the way pacemakers work is you can put a magnet on top of them, and that will disable them and allow people to induce therapy, and there's a lot of things that you want to disable the medical device for, but there's a software error where if you put the magnet on top of the device and you take it off, it still thinks that you have the magnet on top, and it's still disabled, which means all those people aren't getting the therapy that they're supposed to be getting from their heart device. So there are quite a lot of medical devices that have had even recalls that have been related to software. There's been plenty of other examples, for example, insulin pump, where it was reading the number of times that people pressed the button wrong, which is very similar to the radiation cases.
Why is it that the manufacturers are so hesitant to allow access to code? You would think that the device itself would be their real IP.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we have a culture where we believe that keeping our software closed and proprietary is a smart business move, and I think that there's also a misconception that by keeping the software closed, there's some sort of better security. But one of the things that our paper really touches on is that security through obscurity does not work, and especially for medical devices, we should not rely on security through obscurity for our life-critical functions. We shouldn't rely on it for our cars, for our planes, our voting machines, our financial markets, all of these key systems. But personally, for me, I don't want my heart to be relying on closed source code that hasn't been reviewed. In fact, this is the most shocking thing about my research, is that I found out that the FDA typically does not review the source code on these devices. Typically, they don't even really ask for it. They ask for reports about the software. So nobody is really reviewing the software, and there's no common repository that's available for it.
It certainly brings a new meaning to the term blue screen of death.
I find that to be very shocking.
Ooh. So, first of all, what types of devices? I mean, there's the obvious things: insulin pumps, implantable defibrillators, and pacemakers. Are there other classes of devices? I mean, I have a BiPAP at home I use for when I sleep. I think
software is practically everywhere now. And, we can imagine it in everything that we use every day. There are other kinds of medical devices that it's in, like pain therapy and chemotherapy devices are now implantable. But we're most concerned, to go with the bad puns, yeah. This is an issue close to my heart, but we're concerned about these really society critical functional devices. So that's why we focused on medical devices for this paper.
Right. So if people are more interested in this, where can they learn some more about it?
Oh, great. They should go to the Software Freedom Law Center website, which is softwarefreedom.org, and they can see on our publications page that we've released this paper. There's an easy-to-read abstract at the beginning.
And if they wanted to become more involved, where is the pressure going to need to go to change this?
Personally, I think we need to raise awareness so that everyone knows that this is happening. My father has a pacemaker. Anyone who has a loved one who has an implantable medical device should be aware that there isn't the proper oversight of this source code. So I think that people should talk to their cardiologists. Everyone should talk to the device manufacturers and put pressure societally on making sure that we understand that we'll be safer with source code that's auditable.
Is the FDA the final people who would be the people who could do the thou shalt on this, though?
I mean, I think the FDA definitely could certainly increase the requirements that they're making on the medical device manufacturers. They do review source code when they believe that there's actively some problem. So, the FDA could really step in. But I think that this issue is a very broad one, and one that is not simply related to the FDA, but for medical devices, absolutely.
Right, well, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.